Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Maybe that's the first question for y'all today. Head over to the chat and let us know where are you tuning in from while we're all settling. You can find the chat to the left side of your screen. Here we go. We've got Dennis joining us from Sweden.
Ooh, Dennis. Yay.
Julia. Hey, Julia. We've got Frankfurt, Hong Kong, woohoo, South Africa. I see Ben's here. Ben, man, it's been a while. Hello. Indra's here. Cool.
Indra.
Awesome. So what you guys are seeing on the screen, it's the first question for you. Well, the second, because the first one was the chat. What's your personal preference? Is your personal preference to work mainly sync or mainly async? And you can simply stamp your choice. Or are you somewhere in between? Let us know. Also, I want to mention that you can also control the volume of the music that you're hearing in the background, louder or slower. Awesome, keep them coming. I am killing the music because we are, we've got today back-to-back session. Why is that? We are celebrating collaboration in a distributed world today and tomorrow. And we have planned 19 virtual learning opportunities for everyone who would like to learn more about collaboration. And we have 15 speakers, 15 guests, and majority of them were part of the Butter Experts Collective. This is a handpicked group of really, really awesome facilitators, strategists, innovators that are teaming up with the biggest companies in the world to solve the wickedest problems that you can imagine. So that's what on the agenda today and tomorrow. If you haven't signed up for all the sessions, Cheska, would you mind maybe popping the Collab Fest link still in the chat so people can have a look at what's waiting for them. Also, we have a surprise for you because today we are teaming up with Design Matters. So are there any designers in the room? Anyone working in design, product design, software design? Wiggle a finger, give it. Yes, I see some movement there. There we go. So we are giving away 20 free live stream tickets to Design Matters. And Design Matters, it's a 2-day conference for designers. And all you have to do is throughout today, share your main takeaway or insights from this session or the later on sessions on LinkedIn and Twitter using the hashtag CollabFest 2022, and of course, tag Butter. So you can enter the raffle, and we're contacting the winners end of the day. Before we move on, the session is being recorded. And one last curiosity from my side, I am super curious to know who here is for the first time ever in Butter. Like, this is where you get to know us. And who here is like, hey, I've been here before. I know you guys. Okay, so I see that we've got a lot of, nope, I know this tool. I know who you are. You are seeing a poll popping up to the left side of your screen, and you can simply click on the option. First time in Butter, nope, or yes. And while the poll keeps on moving and you get to decide, I would like to welcome our first speaker today. Jakob, hello. Hey.
Hello.
Hi.
I am so excited to be here. I just wanted to see all of you guys.
Jakob, for those of you who don't know, is the CEO of Butter and one of the co-founders. And we are a fully remote team distributed across 10 countries, 18 people. And Jakob is the one keeping us all kind of focused on the objective and also smiling in all of our sync sessions. So that's that. Jakob founded StreamCrux before Butter, which was a gaming streaming startup. that was also built as a remote company. So he knows a thing or two about leading teams in a distributed world. And prior to that, he has built and scaled one of the Southeast Asia largest digital agency as managing director for the Indonesian office and also as a regional group director. So there we go, a quick CV update from Jakob. Jakob, thank you so much for opening up the Collab Fest for us. The stage is yours.
Thanks so much, Maria. And StreamCrux actually failed because nobody could say its name. So yeah, that's the short story.
We saw that live today.
Yes.
Although I practiced this, but hey.
All right, it's super lovely to see all of you guys here today. Feel super honored to have so many people joining in here on the Collab Fest. So now Anne-Marie asked you a little bit about this whole like, okay, what's your preference? Sync or async? Oh, what do you like best? Oh, it's a battle, right? And I'll like contribute a little bit to this battle and ask, okay, how sync versus async is your organization? So where you work in on a daily basis? Is it mostly async? Is it mostly synchronous? Is it a bit mixed? Like what's happening? All sitting talking in an office, meetings dominating your schedule. Like if you've got more than 3 meetings a day, I'd wait to say mostly sync. But if you have less than 3 meetings a week, I'd say definitely mostly async. Okay, mixed, mostly sync. Yes, okay, little bit. Okay. Oh, there's an async guy. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah, 20 meetings. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then I think you should be placing yourself in the mostly sync section. But okay, I'm loving this. Thanks a lot. It seems actually, and I'm quite happy to see this, that there's a lot of mixed people here. And I'm going to be talking a little bit today about, well, why async is overrated. I'm just going to end the poll here, but it's nice to see all the sync people in this room. So again, this is I guess a slightly contentious statement. A lot of people have been talking about async in the past years, which is kind of why I wanted to kind of debunk a few myths, or what I believe is myths, and dive deeper into why at least we believe that async is overrated. And again, this all comes back to the fact that collaboration has happened for a very, very long time synchronously. It's been people sitting in offices, in big companies, ever since a corporation was born, but even before that, sitting in workshops, sitting around campfires, and then they have collaborated, right? So it goes back literally millennia. So it's a bit hard to kind of just kill it overnight, right? But that is kind of what this little thing, COVID, kind of did. Well, it didn't actually kill synchronous collaboration overnight, but it made people very, very, very aware about the fact that async exists. And not just that async exists, you had a lot of organizations that were very much the original players in the remote work space coming and saying that, hey, yes, async is the answer to all of your troubles. You've been doing sync all of your life. You've been living all wrong. You've been working all wrong. Now you should all become async. And it definitely was an awakening, and you definitely saw a lot of organizations switch towards a healthier way of working. But you also had a general discourse, I believe, and we believe in the collaboration market, that suddenly async is way better than sync. Everyone that's doing sync collaboration, they're working all wrong. And I think that's very, very incorrect way of interpreting this discourse. Again, The first reason why they reacted the way why this discourse kind of happened was we were just way too heavy on synchronous sessions beforehand. It was like, oh yeah, hey, we have this thing that we need to collaborate about. Let's have a meeting. Like we'll end up with like Akui mentioned before, with 20 meetings in a day, because then that thing happened, and then oh, we have to make a decision about what to have to lunch. Let's have a meeting, right? And there was just a way to wrongly distributed way of doing synchronous async. It always default to sync without thinking. The second reason was that a lot of the synchronous sessions that we did were not, or meetings as they were so beautifully called, were done in a wrong way. They were unplanned, unstructured, didn't really know why you had the meeting. I think we've all been in this meeting with like 20 people sitting around, one person talking, and you're like, why am I here? So a lot of the sync time was unproductive. Oh yeah, by the way, please feel free to make some noise. You can use the keyboard 1 through 0 keys to kind of do reactions, and I'd love to get a few reactions here. Yes, excellent. Oh, yeah, it makes me happy. Thank you so much. Yes, beautiful. It's the start at 8:30 by morning. It's still I'm running on coffee and adrenaline here. So and your reactions. So thank you. The third thing is that a lot of the sync sessions that happened after we'd all been pushed remotely were simply made to mimic the ways of working that we did in the physical world. So we just took and carbon copied everything that we'd been doing in the physical world and made that into the remote world. So we sat there with in various video conferencing tools, some of which I will not mention the name of, and we're looking at blank screens or like people in little squares with no happy emojis. Yes. Ooh. Yes. Thank you. So that created this kind of black and white discourse that synced bad, async good. And that's kind of what I'd react a little bit about. But let me just pause here and throw out a few scenarios on in which of these scenario choose, should this scenario be sync? Should the scenario be async? And please bear with me here. So company updates, should they be sync or async? Come on, put your little markers down. Okay, yes. Oh, a little bit of weight to the async side. Some people that are in between. We've got a Marcus that's sneaking a little bit over on the sync side. Yes, like, oh, I undecided. Yes, okay. Come on, guys. It's like the line. You're killing the line here. Okay, I'll go on one-on-ones. Let's not kill the line here on the one-on-ones. Sync racing one-on-ones. Yes. Okay. Excellent. I'm very curious whether someone would put this in async. That would be like the most awkward one-on-one. Oh, thank you there, Maria. Yes, all of your and Cheska's one-on-ones are done async. Yes, this is great. Stand-ups, like team stand-ups, like should they be async, sync, team stand-ups? Yes. Ooh, yes, a bit of spreading across the board. This is cool. I like that. Yes. Indra, Chess, Taco, Dewey, yes, okay, on the line. Thank you. Very cool. Okay, celebrations and milestones. Okay, you just hit that huge, revenue number. Should it be done celebrated synchronously or asynchronously? Like, how should you celebrate milestones? Yes, okay, sync. Oh, we've got Isabel very much on the async. Like, let's not celebrate in person. That's cool. Yes. Brainstorms, sync racing. Come on. Yes. Oy. Very much kind of in between. I like this. Oy. Yeah, we've got Linnea on the line. Gidria's on the line as well. Chantal, yes, okay. But good distribution, and let's take workshops. Sync racing. Okay, good distribution here. And I'm actually curious. Yes, okay, sync. A bit of an overweight to the sync workshops. Okay. Okay, so you can see it's actually not as black and white here. That there is a lot of different decisions and thoughts that have to go into, should we do X or Y, sync or async? just flip through this. Again, the whole thing kind of goes back to this, that you have to define what you're trying to achieve and then define how you're going to achieve this. And again, this kind of goes into Async does a number of things simply much better than Sync does. Like information sharing and documentation, very, very strong in Async. Again, back to this whole thing, all sitting in meetings where there's one person, oh, I just want to share something with you. And, 3 hours later, still speaking, right? Not very nice. We've got space for deep thought. Like if you really want to digest something, really want to get into a particular topic, the thing is not the best if you're suddenly sitting in the session and have to digest a whole lot of information. People digest information on different speeds, on different types of topics. Like deep thought, done so much better async. And lastly, async just enables something around flexibility that is incredibly amazing. And I'm really like, I'm talking here as an absolute workaholic but that really tries to weave life and work very much into each other. And this flexibility of the async is absolutely astounding. It's also the only way that you can truly build teams that span time zones, such as, for instance, we have here in Butter. And I think there's something absolutely amazing about what async does there. But now you can imagine what comes next. Sync also does a number of things very, very well. Firstly, the human connection. Like again, back to the very awkward one-on-one, that Anne-Maria and Chess apparently has. I believe you did something really badly, Anne-Maria, and then like 3 days later, Anne-Maria reacts. It's just not. It's not really how you create empathy or how you create connection around people. There's just something much, much stronger, and it's not just. It's not just like the initial human connection. There's also the thing about collaboration, feeling out each other, understanding what lies beyond each other's opinions, that you're simply able to do so much better sync. And actually, where one of our beliefs in Butter is that a lot of the ways that video conferencing is done today creates a lot of barriers in terms of expressing yourself, in terms of engagement and human connection that we are trying to bridge. We're still in the earlier days there, but we really want to bridge this human connection. Second thing is brainstorming, like riffing off of each other. I think we've all been in these magical moments where one person says one thing, another person says another thing, and like you build on each other's thoughts incredibly well. I think that also happens so much better in a like these creative sessions happen so much better in a sync manner. And the third thing is decision making. I know this might be a little bit controversial, but again, if you have to make hard decisions, if you have to discuss things thoroughly, but need to do them reasonably fast, doing them in a sync is a much more powerful way than doing them in async. But again, and again, like the overall point here is knowing what you need to accomplish in terms of format. But many of you will also notice that to many of the sync strengths that I mentioned, honestly, there's a big caveat, namely that they are absolutely useless without their async counterparts. Sync only works if async works. And that kind of comes back to a number of things. You have to prepare a synchronous session meticulously. Like these brainstorms that I spoke about, sure, they all sound really great on paper, but if people come in with different context or no context, you can have people or like they can go all over the place. Decision making, yeah, it's really great to do that sync, but if you do not have the context there, if you've not structured things up front, then they will fall very much flat. And again, it goes back to a number of different things. Clear outcomes of the session, predefined agenda, pre-reads that give enough context to participants so everyone's on the same page, well-defined roles for the participants. The list goes on, not too long, but it goes on quite a bit. And I think it's incredibly important that one knows that the async component of preparing a session is tremendously important for the success of the of the sync meeting. During the session, of course, the fact that we need to facilitate and engage people meticulously is also incredibly important for these sessions to succeed. And again, down to a number of things. It's actually quite a not too long a list of things one needs to do. Following the agenda, following a lot of the things that have been set up beforehand, capturing and documenting the thoughts and the outcomes throughout the session, presenting as little as possible. Back to the fact, like the actual knowledge transfer, a lot of that stuff kind of comes beforehand. It's fine with a reminder, but don't go through the entire argument again. And engaging people and making people interact. I'll just pause for effect here and pause for reactions. Yes. Okay. Give me a reaction. Give me a reaction. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Right. I'm sorry. Still, that is for me. And lastly, of course, the debrief component. A lot of synchronous sessions end without people thinking about the ending and about the stuff after the ending. And again, taking all the stuff that you created during the session, the takeaways, the outcomes, the thoughts, documenting them and making sure they're stored in like a central repository where the right people have access to it, and following up on these things throughout the organization, making sure that the decisions are somehow integrated into the organization's workflows so the change actually happens. So important for things to go well afterwards. So again, sync and async play incredibly well together. And if you want to optimize your collaboration, sounds so bad. Like honestly, if you want to make things effective, if you want to truly collaborate in a manner that makes everything work, then you need to master both of them and make conscious choices about whether you do async or sync collaboration. Yes. Okay, that was what I had. Yeah. And I apparently did my 20-minute keynote in 16 minutes and
you did amazing.
Seconds.
You did great.
You did amazing. You were part of this.
You did amazing. Thank you so much, Jakob. So since we do have a couple of more minutes, how about we take some impromptu questions, or if not questions, maybe just kind of like thoughts, nuances on what was said. And the way to do that very structuredly. Oh, thank you for the spotlight. Let's give the Q button a try. So if you hover over that up finger, there we go. Yes. There we
AJ,
go.
do we have a real question?
There we go.
Question, AJ. Yes, go, AJ.
Yeah. So just want to check. So I'm from India. I'm working with a startup called Swiggy. So what we are doing right now, we are a remote first company. Most of the people are working from home. And we are currently debating sync versus sync. So in case, as you mentioned, both sync and async are important, and we are facing issues, especially with brainstorming stuff, human to human connect and everything. And currently we are doing work from anywhere policy we have. So if both of them are important, then do you feel that the work from anywhere policy can really work? Because people have to be coming together for sync kind of meeting. Is it something that you feel, or it can be done online as well? Just want to understand your perspective on that.
AJ, thank you so much for this question. I know this really great tool that is simply built for synchronous collaboration online, and it works great directly in your browser. It's called Butter. Yeah, okay, that was a bit of a coy answer. Yes, sync can very much be done online, and that's exactly what we're building Butter for.
Okay.
So yeah. So yes, it works very well with the work from anywhere policy. We have it as well.
Okay. And especially if people are working from different time zone, do you feel that still we can have sync?
It depends, right? I mean, is it Australia versus the Midwest, or like there's certain time zones that are not super strong on sync collaboration. So time zones is one of the tricky parts. It's one of the tricky parts.
Yeah. Thank you.
But we work across like synchronous across 7-8 different time zones ourselves, and that works fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Julia?
Thank you. So I have a question that I'm quite curious around is so Butter obviously is really doing a great job in Sync meetings or Sync workshop, which I also use as well. So I'm curious around in your product backlog or like in the future, do you see like Butter going towards or like open up for a Sync development as well?
Great question. Butter will always be focused on synchronous collaboration, but as mentioned, so many async components feed towards the success of the sync session. So what we will be building in Butter is all the asynchronous collaboration things that will allow you to have better synchronous sessions. So that means before the meeting, like participant onboarding, pre-reads, lots of things in that area, preparation for the facilitators. We already built out a lot of stuff there. And post-meeting, a much stronger debrief than we have at the moment, recaps with all outcomes, takeaways, a lot of things in that direction. But we will be focused on the synchronous collaborative session as the core, but we'll build out all the stuff around it that allows it to work better.
Brilliant.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Thanks for the question, Julia. Rasmus?
Hello. I was just wondering a little bit about feedback in async and synchronized, because you didn't have that on your slides. And I know it's very contextual to what kind of feedback, but I'm a bit curious to hear your thoughts on it.
So how you give feedback synchronously versus asynchronously?
Yeah, and where it belongs, because you didn't have it in your slide, because there was you had decision making, but there was not discussion and feedback, and something that we discuss a lot at least.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Again, I'd say feedback rests somewhere in. It depends on the type of feedback. I'd say some of the feedback is feedback to a particular person, which would rest in the one-on-one kind of area. Very much a synchronous, like a synchronous thing. So something you do at the same time. I hate these words. Like, who invented them? And I think it's the old Greeks. Okay, total digression. Anyways, like, so definitely recommend to do that at the same time. But there's a lot of theories about, should you send out feedback beforehand and then discuss it in person? Should you send it afterwards? How do you deliver it? That's a whole can of worms in and of itself. But I'd always have the synchronous session as kind of the core. So when it comes to feedback on work stuff, you can very easily do that in an asynchronous manner if you're able to kind of remove the feelings and emotions around it. So it depends very much on kind of how sensitive and how personal is the feedback that you're delivering, and how much psychological safety do you have in your organization to kind of remove any emotional components of the feedback. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it's also interesting with your information sharing and because that's maybe also have feedback and questions woven into it. So
could very much have. Yeah, no, it's so that's also like it's an and it depends kind of answer, which is the shittiest of all. But that I guess that's a lot of the parts here. Akwi? Oh,
hello.
Yeah,
you
hello.
have to. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, honestly, love the entire talk, mainly because, so I've been running a remote agency way before the pandemic, and I have my camera off because there's a bit of a technical issue and everything. But honestly, love the entire thing, mainly because I feel like right now it's the time to be able to structure everything possibly, because people are like, oh my God, how are we going to deal with the remote world? But there are like so many possibilities that have been enabled. It's just that we require the proper structure and balance. Like, I know I had 20 meetings yesterday and everything, but they're like spread between my podcast, my communities, my coaching, and my agency, and all together. And I feel like the main thing that honestly helps with these things is having clear agendas, and also having like clear roles, like how you got into it, like, making sure everyone knows exactly what the agenda is, how quickly it's getting done. Because I had like 15-minute meetings where I would achieve a lot more than I had like 2-hour calls and everything, where I'm discussing the same thing with the client again and again because there was lack of clarity. So I think clarity and structure is really great, and I love the entire talk altogether.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can always deal with this was nice comments, and I very much agree with your points. Okay. I think we're at time. Maria?
We are at time. Thank you so much, Jacob. Yes, there we go. We are moving to the other room. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just pop it in the chat for everyone who would like to move over. We're talking about Brainstorm. So we tackled that a little bit, but we're moving together with Marcus Blatt, and he's going to tell us all about efficient sync, async workshops. Thanks so much, Jacob. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you around. Stay tuned for Collab Fest. Take care.